The world today is overflowing with noise, constant distractions, endless demands, and a daily struggle for control that feels impossible to win. Every moment, we are bombarded by forces far beyond our command, and we fight, push, and claw trying to bend them to our will. But the truth, the one most people avoid facing, is that the more we chase control, the more we lose ourselves in the chaos. Yet there's a way to rise above it all, a way to create clarity in the noise, and it begins with something simple but incredibly powerful: detachment. Detachment isn't about escaping the world or running from your responsibilities. It's about taking command of your mind, your emotions, and your actions. It's the essence of Stoicism, the teaching that real power isn't found in controlling the uncontrollable, but in mastering yourself. Imagine living a life where you remain steady and unshaken no matter how violently the world around you storms, where nothing has the power to disrupt your inner peace because you've learned to separate your sense of self from external chaos. This idea isn't about mere survival. It's about thriving, about walking through the madness of life with clarity and strength instead of being ruled by fear and uncertainty. It's about reclaiming your freedom by realizing that letting go is not weakness, but the foundation of true power. Most of us spend our lives trying to control everything: the people around us, our circumstances, the future we desperately try to predict. We've been taught that if we try hard enough, think long enough, plan far enough, we can force life to match our expectations. But no matter how much energy we pour into this illusion, we can never control the weather, other people's thoughts, their actions, or the unpredictable curveballs life loves to throw. And the harder we try to grasp these untamable forces, the more powerless and exhausted we become. It's a battle we are not meant to win, yet we keep fighting it, hoping control will protect us from pain or uncertainty. But instead of safety, it brings anxiety, stress, and disappointment. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do," and that truth hits even deeper in this context. Our strength doesn't come from planning or worrying, but from the way we respond to the things we can actually influence. Your reactions, your mindset, your choices, that's where your real power lies. When we obsess over controlling everything outside of ourselves, we enter a cycle of endless frustration. We can't make people behave the way we expect. We can't guarantee outcomes. We can't avoid failure or disappointment. And when things fall apart, as they always will, we feel defeated, powerless, and lost. It's painful because we're trying to shape the world into something it can never be: predictable. But life is not meant to be controlled. It's meant to be lived. And the moment you release the impossible expectation of controlling everything around you, something surprising happens. You begin to feel lighter. You realize that the only thing you ever truly had control over is yourself. Detachment isn't giving up. It isn't passivity. It's choosing to stop fighting battles that drain your energy and focusing instead on the internal world you can command. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That single understanding can change the entire trajectory of your life. Control feels comforting, almost seductive. It gives us the illusion that if we can just grip tightly enough, life will fall neatly into place. But this illusion is a trap. The more we cling to control, the more fragile we become, because life does not follow our script. Plans fail. People disappoint us. The world changes unexpectedly. And when our sense of stability is tied to things we don't control, even the smallest disruption can feel catastrophic. Stoicism, however, teaches us that the world doesn't need to bend to us for us to stand strong. True stability comes from within, from the ability to stay grounded even when life is unpredictable. You don't have to crumble when things go wrong. You don't have to lose yourself when your expectations are shattered. You simply need to shift your focus from the external to the internal, your thoughts, your perspective, your responses. That's the kind of strength no one can take from you. The moment you understand that your need to control everything is the real source of your anxiety, something inside you changes. You start to see that the only battle worth fighting is the one happening within. When you stop trying to shape the world to your desires and instead shape your responses to the world, you reclaim your power. So how do you begin this journey? The first step is accepting that you cannot force every outcome. The second is choosing to let go of what you can't control and invest your energy in the parts of life you can influence. The third step is learning to embrace uncertainty, understanding that not knowing what comes next is not a threat. It's a form of freedom. Life becomes easier when you stop demanding certainty and start adapting. You realize that although you can't control what happens, you can always control how you live your life, and that is more than enough. Letting go doesn't make life less chaotic. It makes you stronger within the chaos. You stop being pushed around by circumstances, stop feeling crushed by what you can't change, and instead move fluidly with the rhythm of life. The world remains unpredictable, but you become unshakable. This kind of inner strength can only be developed through detachment, the release of the belief that your happiness depends on external things. We all crave safety. We want our lives to feel predictable, stable, and comfortable. So we form attachments to people, to outcomes, to possessions, believing that if we hold tightly enough, we can avoid pain or loss. But attachments are not anchors of safety. They are chains. Chains that bind us to things beyond our control. When you attach your happiness to someone or something outside yourself, you hand over your emotional well-being to forces you cannot command. And when those things change or disappear, as everything eventually does, you feel broken, incomplete, shaken to your core. We cling because we believe attachment equals security. But attachment actually creates vulnerability. The more you need something to stay the same, the more power it has over you, and the more terrified you become of losing it. But imagine a life where loss doesn't destroy you, where change doesn't terrify you, where uncertainty doesn't break you. That life begins the moment you release attachment. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It doesn't make you cold, unfeeling, or distant. It simply means you stop depending on external things for your peace. You stop handing over your stability to people, events, or outcomes you can't control. You learn to love without clinging, to strive without obsession, and to enjoy life without fearing the moment it changes. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This philosophy isn't only about material things. It applies to emotional wealth as well. The fewer emotional chains you cling to, the more freedom you gain. Freedom from fear. Freedom from disappointment. Freedom from the fragile identity built on things temporary and unpredictable. Detachment allows you to appreciate life fully without becoming enslaved by any part of it. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can pursue success without tying your worth to achievement. You can experience joy without fearing its end. You stop reacting to every shift in the world and instead become centered, balanced, grounded. It's a gradual process, something you build slowly as you learn to release old habits of control and attachment. In the beginning, letting go may feel like losing something precious, but the truth is you're gaining something far more powerful: your autonomy. You're reclaiming the part of yourself you unknowingly surrendered to things outside your control. You're realizing that you are enough on your own, that your peace comes from within, not from what the world gives you. Think about all the times you try to force life into your plans. Think of the disappointment, the anger, the helplessness that followed when things didn't go your way. Now imagine how much lighter, freer, and calmer you'd feel if you weren't so attached to specific outcomes. If you allowed things to unfold without letting them break you. The results may not always match your expectations, but they will no longer define your sense of peace. When you let go of attachment, you stop being a prisoner of outcomes and become a master of your inner world. You discover a form of security that doesn't depend on anything external, a security that stays with you even when everything around you shifts. That is real strength. That is real peace. And it comes not from holding on, but from letting go. Because no matter what life brings, No matter how unpredictable the world becomes, you will always be able to face it. Not because life is stable, but because you are.